Oh, we get everybody to grab a seat.
But I can sit closer when after I get done. So I'll let everybody sit.
Yeah, come sit by your wife.
Guess what we forgot? All the flowers.
I know. I already realized that.
We're all running out the door.
Yeah. You guys, the kids can come up here and sit. Or you guys can sit.
No, I'm gonna stand.
Yeah. Hi, sweetheart. I don't think you can do it.
So I'd like to welcome everybody for coming, and thank you. Express Kathy's love for you and her love for you. Where appropriate, if you would still have your cell phones on, if you just turn those off for a few minutes, where appropriate. And we'd like to thank Jared and Nathan and anybody else who has anything to do with videoing this, so that Paula and Kurt and extended family can view this for later. We'll begin by having an opening hymn, I Am a Child of God, and Brooke is going to play chorister for us. And after that we'll have the invocation by Michelle.
Did we figure out music?
The words are on the back of the program. And he has sent me here. An earthly home with parents kind and dear. Lead me, guide me, walk beside me, help me find the way. Teach me all that I must do to live with him someday. I am a child of God, and so my needs are great. Help me to understand his words before it grows too late. Lead me, guide me, walk beside me, help me find the way. Teach me all that I must do to live with him someday. I am a child me find the way. Teach me all that I must do to end within someday.
Our dear kind and gracious Heavenly Father, we're very grateful that we're all gathered here today. We're grateful that we were all able to make it to celebrate the life of Grandma, and that we're going to be able to remember all of the memories and everything that she was able to do for us, and all the blessings that she was able to share for us. Please bless us throughout this day that we were able to feel her love and feel the love of Grandpa as well. We're very grateful that she is with Grandpa again and with the rest of our loved ones. Please bless us that we'll be able to look up to her and do what is right within our lives. And these things we have in the name of Jesus Christ.
I'd like to thank Brooke for playing chorister and all those who are going to speak or be part of the program today. We'll begin by having a life sketch by Jared, after which Haley will give a poem. Nathan will then give memories of. We'll have a closing hymn, I Need Thee Every Hour, benediction will be by Eric Nygaard. Keith will then dedicate the grave. Then we'll have the presentation of roses by Randy, after which they will warm up. So, Jared.
I'm going to kind of stand over here just so that maybe I'm out of the way of the GoPro. Kathleen Monroe, born December 1940, passed March of 2020. She was the second of three children, Michael and Colleen. She also had a half-brother Pat and a half-sister Jody. Her parents were divorced when she was young, so she and her sister Colleen lived with Grandma and Grandpa Cottrell for her first 7 years. After her father returned from World War II, he then remarried, and she and Colleen then went to live with him. During that time, her father was stationed in Germany. Some of her favorite times in her life: long bike rides, time on the beach, playing with friends. One of her stories was of climbing in trees. She always said she'd climb higher than all the boys. I don't doubt that. At the age of 14, she again went to live with her grandparents and remained there until she met Grandpa Gray. Grandma and Grandpa Gray met in 1957 and were married in the temple in 1958. Sorry, I lost my place. after they got married, they moved to Montana, where they had 4 children: Kurt, Shauna, Paula, and Tamara. Currently, they have 12 grandchildren and 13 great-grandchildren. Once they moved to Montana, eventually they opened up Monroe Advertising Agency, where Grandma, and Grandpa were an integral part in running that. I remember a time, little boy, going up there and sitting next to her desk, just sitting there watching her work. Grandpa come over, says, "Hey, we're shooting a commercial today. Do you guys want to come with us?" So we went over there. And I hate to give a plug, but Honda was the commercial we were going for, and Grandma and I got to sit in the back of a Honda. And the guy told us, "You're not going to be on TV or anything, so don't worry about it. Just look straight forward and we'll go through it." So Grandma and I sat in the back and we kind of just talked through 2.5 hours of filming through they do this commercial. And I remember about a week, maybe 2 later, after I came back, and Grandma and Grandpa took me to the airport. And if many of you remember the 80s, you remember when they had those little TV booths in the airport, and you had to put your 50 cents in to watch, you know, a TV show or comics or whatever it was. So Grandma convinced Grandpa to put in 50 cents into the little TV show. And I sat there and they kind of went over, and I'm looking at this little TV booth. And as like today, when you watch YouTube or anything else, you have to see advertisements first. The second advertisement in was a Honda commercial with Grandma and I sitting in the back. Unfortunately, Grandpa had to spend 50 cents for 4 other things so I could watch that same Honda commercial over and over and over to see myself on TV. So, unfortunately for him, that was, you know, he spent another $3 just to let me watch a TV commercial. Never got to my actual, now I lost my place. So after Grandma and Grandpa moved to Montana, and they actually bought the cabin, which is near and dear to all of us. A place where she loved to spend her life and spend her time away, spend her summers there. In 1990, Grandma and Grandpa moved back to Arizona to be closer to their kids and grandchildren. Before that, they spent a year traveling the country just together, which was probably their best memory together. I've heard so many stories of what they did going through 46 or 47 states. I can't remember which one. Somebody can yell up and tell me if I'm wrong. But it was a good number of states. My grandma was extremely talented at many different things. When they moved to Arizona, she was the PR director for a local hospital. She loved to sew, she loved to paint, she loved to do so many different things. But most of all, she loved to be with her family. All of us grandkids know, and kids know, that if there was one thing, even if we did something wrong, there was one person that we could call. It was her. She would help out. She would do whatever she needed to make sure that we were safe. I spoke of the cabin a little bit earlier, and I know that that was one of her favorite places to go with my grandpa. After she moved to Arizona, Chris and I got married and had our first kid. And I asked Grandma and Grandpa what they want to be called. Everybody wants to be called something different. You want to call great grandma? You want to call grandma me? Whatever you want to do. But she says, I'm not a great grandma. I'm Grandma Great. Because I'm great at whatever I put my mind to. She wanted that great after her name because she was Grandma Great. She was a loving wife, a loving mother, and loving grandma to all of us. She was one of the best examples that we have of selflessness in our family. She enjoyed being Grandma Great. She loved being with all of us and loved our time together. Thank you so much. Love you, Grandma.
Here, let me try before I have to talk. Though it was my time to leave, that doesn't mean our story is through. If you ever need someone to talk to or lean on, I'll always be there for you. Just close your eyes tight and you can picture me. Perhaps think about one of our happiest of shared memories. Think of me telling you stories or reading you books. Think of me in the kitchen while I let you be my little helper as I cook. Think of me on vacation with you, maybe giving Mickey a big kiss. Think of me dancing and tapping my toes to a song at a show I did not want to miss. Think of me opening presents with you and eating bacon on Christmas Day. Think of me sharing your ice cream and how one bite of hot fudge could make me feel gay. Think of me holding hands with Papa and the true love we exude. Think of me on a beach in California